I suggest then we start, if you don't mind. Then this is my name is Inga Bos. I already introduced myself, but I will just do it again. And I'm a new project manager for ERN CRANIO. And this is a workshop to just inform you all about the developments that we have related to our registry. Just remember, yeah. You know, she completed your holiday. This is our agenda for today. We're going to do this presentation together with Molgenis, and Fernanda is a representative of Molgenis. Is a party that we're working with, and they are building our registry. Yeah, first, I'm going to do a short introduction round and just have I want to talk about our registry. It's a secure web-based application for clinical and patient-reported data that will be collected for it. And the data that is going to be in the registry is going to be pseudonymized with the R3 Spider tool. And the registry is fully compliant with the new EU data protection directive, as well as with national laws and regulations. We have sent the data sharing agreements to your center representatives, and it went through the legal departments before it was signed with each center. So the main purpose of it is to collect the best treatment outcomes, and that will allow for a more thorough analysis of predictive factors within that particular center, the particular focus on type and timing of surgical treatment. In some ERNs, there is a data access committee that provides access to this registry. In our case, it's our scientific committee that is going to provide the access to the registry. And the aim of the scientific committee is to facilitate research collaboration between ERN CRANIO and our members. And the committee is multidisciplinary. So we have 3 main work streams, and from each work stream, there are 2 representatives. These are our committee members. And our chair is Roman Honsari, and we have Agnes for oral dental, Alessandro and Sandrine for ENT, Ebola and Christian for cleft, and Jean-Piero and Shirley for CFM. And we also have Marietta Faza as patient representative. These are the members of our current scientific committee. And the access that scientific committee that is going to provide, this registry access is controlled by assignment of a secure individualized password. Each center administrator is connected to the registry, has an administrator who can create new users at the center and have read-only access to the data. Each center user or clinical contributor has access to all cases at their own center and not the other centers. Investigators that may propose analysis of the registry data by submitting a data request form to a scientific committee, and the patient or legal representatives will only have access to their own data. Then next slide is about the process for seeking access to the data. So in order for an investigator to get access to the data, they will have to fill in a data request form and submit it to the ERN CRANIO project management team. That is me, Ikram, and Yana, and we will just check it for completeness, and if it's complete, it will be going to scientific committee, and then scientific committee will review it, and within 12 weeks they will give a feedback. The next slide is about what we're currently busy with related to the registry. We are working with Molgenis on developing our landing page and a dashboard, and it should be finished hopefully for the landing page and part of the dashboard already before our annual meeting in November. And we're also working on our data access policy and terms of reference document. It has been already approved by scientific committee, but we are working on a ways of making it more elaborate, and that will be presented during our scientific committee meeting in Dublin in November. The next document that we are working on is a data protection impact assessment, where some countries have requested that document from us, and we're working with our legal department to get it done as soon as possible, and it will be also sent to you. And yeah, we have been busy sending the data sharing agreements to all the full members, and these are the 7 members that we already have signed data sharing agreements. So I guess this is for my part. Next part is going to be presented by Fernanda, who is a representative of Mulgenis, as I already mentioned. And Fernanda, please go ahead.
Yes, I need to share my screen. So thank you, Inga. I hope you see all the presentation. So my name is Fernanda and I'm from Groningen. And I am part of this project because I am the technical data manager. So why are we here? It's for the patient registry and
Fernanda,
yeah.
You're not in presentation mode, at least not on my screen, and maybe the others have it as well. So you might check that. Yeah, yes, cool. Yeah, perfect.
Is it better? Okay, yeah. So the goal for the patient registry is for the EU to standardize patient data, to monitor rare disease, to advance research, healthcare planning, and to do a long-term follow-up. And also, of course, to share and to collaborate with each other. But the main thing for this to be success, that people will enter patient data, otherwise it won't work. And of course, also that people will look at this data. And I will just shortly go through how to enter data and to search the data and visualize it. So we made this registry in Mulgenis. So we are the genomic coordination center. So we have a large team which does a lot of things, which is shown here. And one of those tasks is Mulgenis. It's an application which is open source, and you can use it for many different kind of scientific solutions. We already have 15 years of experience. We have a lot of servers already with Mulgenis, and we are now working on the latest version, which is Emacs 2. This presentation, the workshop, is the what older version Emacs 1, but it should contain the same elements in Emacs 2. So in a later stage, you will get the newest version of the Mulgenis. So how to access the registry? So our production server for Cranio is this one. So if you go to this URL, you will you can see already the production server. But for this workshop, we'll use a copy of this server so we can play around in it. So everybody can go to this server and we can log in with these credentials. Later on, we can do it together, but I will just go ahead with the presentation to just first have a feel with what is it about. And I should mention that the login is different from the production. So first, I will show you how the login for the production server, so that this URL will work. So you need to go to the sign in. You need to agree to the privacy policy, which is the same. And then what is different is you use the blue button and you go to the Life Science AI, which is another page. And as a user, you need to click the LS login and you will be redirected. And LSI will give you the option to log in using your institutional account, which is really handy because you don't need to memorize any other passwords. And the users, which will be automatically turned off if they have a different job or whatever. So that's really for managing part, it's really handy, but also for you because you will just go to your own organization. So if you see this screen, you can type in your institution, and then it will go through to the patient registry. But for the workshop, you can just use the normal or the small login. So if you are entering the patient registry, you will see this. And then you choose your own organization. So in our example, we go to the Erasmus, and in the Erasmus, you have your own patient collection and visits. And if you are in the production side, you cannot enter any other institution. So you cannot see the patients of other institutes. You can only see the patients from your own. So when you are at the site, you probably want to enter data. So I show you the three options how to enter data. The first option is manual. If you saw here, you have a plus sign, the green button. Then a form will open, and this is a preview of the form. And what is important to know that the form will guide you to the questions. So you need to answer some questions about the patient, and all the questions which has a red asterisk are mandatory. So you need to fill in all those questions, and then you can save this patient. If you, for example, are interrupted or whatever, the saving is not done in between. So you really need to, if you want to conclude the input of that patient, you really need to enter all the mandatory fields before you save. So that's the mandatory, the manual input. And now about the data structure, because this is one form about patient information, but also the patient will come back and visit you. And depending on the work stream, there are different forms. So for example, the patient is from the cleft work stream, you need to enter a new visit for the cleft work stream, because there are different questions for the cleft than from the craniosynostosis. And for the other work streams later on, they also will be added here. So what I already said, that the work streams, they have different time points, so different moments that a patient will see you, and you can enter the data each time that a patient has been with you. So for example, for a surgery or for a follow-up visit, and each of those visits have different questions. Then we switch from manual to bulk. So for example, you have already a lot of patients you want to upload at once in the system. You can. The positive thing of manual input is that you will know what questions are mandatory. In the bulk upload, you won't know this. So you really need to take care. If you want to upload all the data, make sure you know the data model. So you know which options you can use. You have to know what format it has to be. So I will go guide you through it later on in the live version. So you download the template, and then you go to your system, you transform that data to fit into the template, and you use the advanced data importer, which will guide you through steps to import data properly. And if the data is not proper, it will give an error and says, for example, that your data is not correct. You need to use another format or something. Then you fix it and you go back and go through the advanced wizard again. And then finally, of course, your data will be uploaded. And for the more advanced or people who can help you with it, you can also use the API upload. And this is just if you want to link your patient system, for example, to the registry, you can, but it is technical, a little bit more difficult. So if you have any questions, you can contact our support email box. Well, then we have the data in there, which is good. And then we need to search. And the search here is really a simple simple question, because here you see you can use the box here just to type in anything what you want, and it will search all fields for is there male filled in. If you have like a more complex question you want to ask, you will ask it through the data item selection. So this is a little bit a more complex question. So we want to see all males that are alive and that have a genetic test done. And then you will see the results is 1, and you will see the one which has these variables. And for example, you don't want to see the male patient, but you want to see all patients. You can just click here on the X to remove this specific thing you just set, and then it will only search for a live patient which has a genetic diagnosis available. Yeah, so that was the search, and now David should take over. I don't know if he's already there.
Yes, hi Fernando, I'm here.
Oh, hi.
So yeah, I can go through the slides here. So if you want to go back to full screen, I can
sure.
walk you through them. Yeah, so hi everyone, my name is David. I'm also working with Fernanda here, and so I wanted to talk a little bit about how we are planning to present this information and how you can access it and view it through the use of dashboards. So showing you here a little bit of a demo of what the new home pages will look like. So we have redesigned them. I think we had a very rough version earlier, which was essentially plain text. So we've taken that up, styled it a little bit more, and going to create some custom dashboards for each organization. So in this slide here, this is what a page would look like if you were a part of the University Medical Center in Groningen. And you get a little bit of some information about your center only. So these are some proposed visualizations that we plan on building. So right now these are examples using all randomized data, so it might not make a whole lot of sense, but once we start using connecting this up and using some example data, these charts will make a little bit more sense. So I think the idea is to have each page customized for your center, where you can look at some metrics that based on the data you've submitted. They could also do comparisons with all centers as well. So look at the ERN as a whole. So you will only be able to see your center's information and summary level data for all ERNs combined. So yeah, this work is still ongoing, and I think we should be able to have more of a larger demo to give maybe in the next month or so. And yeah, we look forward to showing that once that is finished. I don't know if I have any more slides. Oh, yeah, that's it for me.
So shall we switch to the other part, or shall we go to the interactive part? Inga?
Yeah, I think our team, Linda, Philippe, and Victor also wanted to say a few words. They also have a couple of slides.
Yeah, sure.
So,
go ahead.
Philippe, are you going to do it?
I need to. So it's visible?
Yes.
Yeah, I've just got a very short update about the things we completed in the last few months with regards to the ERN CRANIO Registry. So together with the ERN CRANIO office, Linda, Victor, and I, the dataset assistants, we've been working on, of course, the dataset conceptualization, as well as data sharing agreements, which now 7 centers have signed already. So that's very good. The patient consent forms were also created. Victor has been working on the consensus statement on facial dysostosis syndromes. And I can show you in the last slide a little bit of the ERN CRANIO research activities that we've been taking place in the last few months. Next slide. So the craniosynostosis data set has been finalized, and I think we will be starting the data model update so that we can start the actual data uploading as soon as possible. For the cleft lip and palate workstream, we're still working on the final updates of this data model, as well as the data set, and we hope to finish this soon as well. For the craniofacial microsomia, it's at a similar place right now, with the final updates being in progress. Same goes for the genetic deafness, with the final updates are also in progress from the data model side, and as well as the I think the final touches on the data set as a whole. And for the oral dental anomalies and the rare tracheal clefts, they are still a little bit in their more conceptual phase. And we're looking forward to start conceptualization of the data set for those two work streams. Then some of the research activities that we've done with ERN CRANIO. So we've got a couple of publications for the craniosynostosis workstream. One on the coverage of craniosynostosis in Europe, which has been published in 2022. Then some other research efforts on specific photo scores for metopic synostosis, and a photo score for aesthetic outcome in sagittal synostosis. And for the cleft lip and palate workstream, we've developed a systematic review to help us develop the multidisciplinary international pediatric registry that is the cleft lip and palate registry, which has been accepted to the Orphanet Journal of Rare Diseases. And another research by Victor, I believe, where they're comparing two surgical protocols for the treatment of unilateral cleft lip and palate, has currently been submitted. And finally, the development of a European multidisciplinary cleft lip and palate registry by ERN CRANIO is a manuscript explaining our experiences and barriers and facilitators that we experienced during the whole process of development, and is also currently being submitted. So that's a little bit of an update on our side.
Now, Fernanda.
Yes, so now it would be nice to have a sort of an interactive session, of course, with questions for you. But first, maybe we can go together to the workshop URL. So I can share again my screen, I think. I need to do this. Whoop. Oh, this is also even kijken. You will see my screen, my whole screen, right? If I don't know, you can see the URL. So if everybody goes to this URL and uses, what is happening? Is using the same user and password. So I will do it. So we go to the sign in. This is the username, the password, and we sign in. So then everybody could see that I've signed in, and then we can go to the, for example, for the Erasmus, and you can go through making a new patient, so you can see what kind of questions will be asked of you when you enter data. So you can go through the form yourself and to platform. That will be great.
Fernanda, you're muted.
Are you muted? Yeah, just since a few.
Oh, not muted anymore. Okay. Did you hear what I said before? Or?
Well, most of it until
Oh.
like 20.
So please enter a patient if you like to the workshop URL, and I can show you how the bulk upload will go, because this is the overview of all the patients. And if you want to do like a bulk upload and not a manual upload, you need to select all columns, because otherwise the template is not correct. So that you can do by selecting here, select all. Then all columns are selected. And if you want to download the latest template to upload your data, you use the download button, and you need to use names and IDs. And for my example, I will just use the Excel file. I download it, and then you have all data which is what was here. So it can happen that, for example, you already have 92 patients here. They will be in your download, but that doesn't really matter, because what you need for the template is the headers. So these headers, you need to use those headers. And the sheet name is important, so you don't change it. So the system will know where the data has to go. So this was specific for the Erasmus. So this is the sheet name for the Erasmus template. And then I will just show you, for example, I put a new patient. I just added this line. The ID has to be unique. So you have to make sure that you have a unique ID. So for me, I just put a 2, and we change this. For example, I will just do it quickly. I will remove the old data. And
sorry, Fernanda, can you make it a bit bigger? Otherwise, it's very hard to see.
Oh, that's like this?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so I changed the ID, I changed the sex, and then I will just want to show you how the upload works. So then I just save this. Downloads, yeah, that's good. So then I have the new data. Where's the... So now I'm going to do the bulk uploads. I'm going to use the advanced data importer, which can be found here. I select the file which I just created. And you have to go to the wizard. You have to say, for example, this is the metadata, so you don't want to mess with that. So you always ignore. And then the data options are, do I update the patient info? So no, because it's a new patient. So I add patients. And then you go through, and then it validates your template and the data in it, if it's correct. So it's green. So now it's importing, and then it's imported. And we go back to the overview, and then the one I created is just uploaded. So that's how the bulk upload works and how you can get the latest template version. I see nobody else try to enter a new patient, which is okay. But this is what I wanted to show in the interactive part. So if you have any questions, or if you are just playing around with the system, you can go ahead.
Everyone is very quiet. I'm gonna ask Fernanda. I don't know how others feel, but I somehow missed the point where your Excel file came from.
where it came from?
Yeah, it all of a sudden appeared while I was logging in, and then it is all there. I don't know where it's coming from.
Well, I download it, and it will go through in your downloads.
Okay, but where did you download it from?
From this website.
Okay, so what do we need to click on to get that file?
So what's important to get all the columns. So select all, and then download.
Okay.
And here, and you select what kind of file you want.
Okay.
This button, download.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the download will start as in a normal download, and then it will go in your browser. In my browser, it's shown here, but sometimes it's usually in the download folder.
Okay, but so then that is a file that we have uploaded before.
This is the file of all patients which are selected. So in this case, there are now 3 patients in there. So there should be three patients in this file.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Thank you for your question.
And then we just open the file and then add another patient, and then we have another patient in the list.
Yes, and you can remove all the patients you don't want to update. So all the data which is in there is just sort of an example or how to upload bulk the patient. So what kind of options there are and how the date should look like. So they are, for example, but if you don't want to change it, you can also remove that data and only work with your own new data.
Okay. Can you maybe also show how it is done manually? Like if you want to add the data on a patient manually.
Yes, but yeah. Maybe Linda can show it.
Yeah, if you could for now just add test to the UPID, because we will change that to Spider. And these are, as Fernanda mentioned, this is the first form. So it contains general information on, for instance, patient sex and country of residence and patient status. And these are variables that are mandatory from an ERN perspective. So every ERN needs to fill these out. And as some are tied to the center, they are already pre-filled out specifically for each center. As you can see in the blue variables here. It is still possible to change them, but the most logical one has already been entered. But if the variable does not apply, you can still change it to a different one. Yes. The ORFA codes, I will update those, so it's easier to select them, and they will also be easier in the next Mulgenus version, because we will transfer this to the newest Mulgenus version. Yes, if you could just enter the syndromic craniosynostosis or the isolated one. The second one from the top. Yes, perfect. And then you can skip these questions for now.
Okay. This is not many.
No. And if you go to craniosynostosis.
Yeah.
Yeah, select that one. And then you can go to the plus on the next one to go to the next form.
Yeah, if you want to add a visit, but you could also first add the patient. I don't know.
Yes, exactly. And there was a question on if the test environment will remain available. It will stay available for some time and people can test it out. And the presentation is being taped, and that will also be shared with everyone. And we will also create a manual for the data entry as well.
Thank you, Linda. And Fernanda.
There's another question.
Yes,
please go ahead.
Yes, I already placed the question in the chat. How is the patient ID created?
Yeah, so we will use Spider, which is a pseudonymization tool from the ERN that was developed by ERDRI, but there will be a different workshop on that.
There's another question from Mary, if the presentation will be shared. Yes, it will be shared with everyone. Please feel free to ask any question related to any aspect that we presented today, and or comments are also most welcome.
I stop share now. So it was clear.
Or maybe not, then people don't feel comfortable asking questions.
Yeah. You can do it anonymously.
Anyway, if
Inga,
no one
maybe
has
when
questions,
you,
yeah.
Inga, maybe
Yes.
when you share the slides, you can also share our contact information so people can have a look at the system and try to
Yes.
log in and try it for themselves. And then they can
Yes.
you can always contact us for any additional questions or comments on the registry that you might have.
Yes. Yes, this, as Linda mentioned, this workshop was recorded, so I'm going to send it to all of you, and it will be also available on our website, and you can watch it later. And if you have any questions, please feel free contacting us, our registry team, Linda, Philip, and Victor, or me, Ikram, and Jana, and either call us or send us an email, and we're always happy to answer all your questions.
Fernanda, I see that some people are having difficulty logging in. Can you go through it one more time?
Yeah. I have to share my screen, otherwise it doesn't make sense. Okay. So we need to have the username and of course the right URL. So there's the Cranio accept. So it's also in the Slack or the chat. So we sign in. And you really need to click this. This is saying that you read the privacy policy.
Can you make it a bit bigger, Fernanda, because it's difficult to read for people?
Yeah.
Thanks.
I can. Whoop. Yoop. So now I just use the test user and I sign in. So now I'm signed in. You can also see it here. So was that helpful or?
Thank you, Fernanda.
Okay.
Please feel free to send us all your feedback, and we'll be happy to receive it all. I mean, for next time we can improve it.
The next step is to go to
Thanks, Fernanda.
right institute. So now we choose Erasmus because, and then we enter a patient because we don't have any other information. We enter a patient. We go to the table of that patient, and then when you want to enter a new patient, you can go to the green button. Or, for example, you want to update this patient, you can use the black. So now I just want to enter a new patient, so the form will open. I click it, and then I can enter all the things I want for this patient. And these these fields are mandatory, the one with the red asterisk. Because, for example, if I just want to save an empty form, I can save, and then you get, oh, not everything is filled in. So if it's red, it's not good. You have to go back and see which of the fields need to be filled. So that's.
Thank you. Thank you very much for participation. We're very happy that you could join our meeting.